What it is, YouTube, what it is. It's your boy Homeboy with another video. Just got out of the gym with my boy Ro. Shout out to Big Link. Wanted to do a video today talking about the Dolphins and Johnathan Taylor. Really don't have much information about it. From what I read on Twitter, they're offering a second, a seventh, and Jeff Wilson, which I think is fair. I did read where it may have been fake news, but it says Taylor's willing to actually go there as one of the destinations he wanted to end up at. It would be nice to see Johnathan Taylor. Imagine him and Mostert as a 1-2 punch for Tua and Hill and Waddle in terms of keeping the ground game, balanced. Because of course Taylor would start and Mostert would be, a rotational back, in and out, making sure that he gets his reps along with staying healthy for the season. Because you don't want to wear them out. So it'd be nice to see that 1-2 combination along with my boy that's slinging the rock, putting his yards up with Hill and Waddle and Chosen and Eric and other guys. But as far as the trade is concerned, I don't want to see the Dolphins give up a lot to get him. But if you're trying to win now, then it's not really going to hurt because he's 24. You at least got 3 guaranteed good years with him by itself. That's at least close to about 1,200 to 1,500 yards a season. When you do the math, that's 5,000 yards like 3 seasons that you can get out of him. And we're talking about rushing yards, not to include at least 10 to 12 touchdowns a season. So you'll get your money's worth with Johnathan Taylor. Now, the offensive line itself is still a question mark, but I think that given the fact that they played together a good amount of years now, and they've gelled pretty well, and with Armstead now being fully healthy and ready to go, I don't see why this trade wouldn't make sense. He's very dynamic, explosive. He can catch. He can take on defenders, providing that additional protection that Tua gonna need within the pocket. He also can slide side to side and catch swing passes. He can line up on the outside numbers in the slot and catch hitch routes and stuff like that to get his momentum going. Swing routes, wheel routes, stuff like that. Simplified plays that that most running backs do just to get some type of momentum and to keep the drive going. He's definitely a up and coming star in the league. I hate that the Colts are doing what they're doing to him because they're losing a cornerstone for your franchise. I mean, he was drafted. I think he was drafted like in the 2nd round, if I'm not mistaken. But he was drafted with expectations. He wasn't drafted just to be another guy. And he took off. I think his sophomore campaign I believe it was. He took off. His rookie year was okay. But his sophomore campaign, he took off. And he was in consideration for MVP that year, if I'm not mistaken. Because he had carried the Colts to a winning record and a potential playoff berth. So he was the catalyst for the reason why people was talking about the Indianapolis Colts. Now they went and drafted a kid, Anthony Richardson, who they're hoping is a home run. But right now, it don't look like it. And then you give it the one security blanket he would have in a running back to say, oh, we're not going to pay him because he's asking for far more than what he's worth. Technically, what he's asking for is fair. Because he sees the running back market. He sees what Zeke got, other running backs have gotten over the years. And granted, once they get their money, they hit what we call a wall. Once they get their money, their production slides. So it's kind of like, oh, okay, I got paid, now I just do what I want to do. But I don't think Johnathan Taylor is going to do that because at 24, you're still super hungry. You still want to prove some stuff. And you also have the desire to actually go out there and do whatever it takes for the team to win a championship. That's the ultimate goal in Miami. It's not to make the playoffs. It is not to reach the AFC championship game. I almost said the NBA thing. It is to get to the Super Bowl and win it. Hell, for that matter, get to a few of them. If the Dolphins can get to the next 2 out of 3 Super Bowls, this would be deemed a very successful experiment. Because, of course, they're not going to cut Tua after 2 or 3 years. Of course, Tyreek probably move on. But then if you draft wisely and if you make the right trades and acquisitions, then you can kind of subside the wound of losing a Tyreek Hill. What you can't do is go around plugging little unknowns here and there, because Waddle is eventually going to be the number one receiver. Right now, he's 1B, because Hill is always 1A. But in about 2 more years, it'll be Waddle's team. He'll be just 25 or 26. And they're going to see how they can mold things around him. So it's not like he's not going to go in terms of being a playmaker. But the Dolphins are in a win now mode because they understand the window's getting small. Not to mention the Jets and the Bills are their legit competition in their division. And the Kansas City Chiefs are out there in the AFC. The Chargers, the Bengals, the Browns. I'm going to mention the Jacksonville Jaguars, although I don't think they could beat the Dolphins in the playoff game. I just named at least 6 to 7 teams that in the AFC that they have to beat. And it's not like it's going to be a cakewalk to do that. Then in the NFC, you got the powerhouses that be the Philly and the Philadelphia Eagles and the San Francisco 49ers. And then the Cowboys, Vikings, so on and so forth, Lions, whatever. But Johnathan Taylor would be a decent fit. Now, I did read a report that said that the Dolphins made a phone call about Josh Jacobs. Josh Jacobs, to me, he's okay, but he's not as agile as Johnathan Taylor is. Josh Jacobs is a 3-yard cloud of dust type runner. He's a battering ram, so he's gonna try to move the line of scrimmage as much as he can. Don't get me wrong, though, when he get outside, he can run, but it's about getting him to the outside. Johnathan Taylor can see a crease and get through that crease and be gone. He'll be in your secondary before you can blink. So I'd much rather acquire that type of running back than have a drop your head, run into the back of the damn tackle, possibly puncture his damn kidneys to get 2 or 3 yards, and then we're not going anywhere, versus getting a guy that I know that with every other carry he can go get to 20 plus yards. So that's just me. I mean, it makes more sense to me to go grab him versus anybody else. And plus, if he's willing to take a pay cut, because the Dolphins are not going to pay him what he's looking for. However, they will compensate him in the end. His incentives, and I think his down the road money will be a lot more as long as he's performing for them. And if we happen to make the Super Bowl this season and he's one of the catalysts behind it, he's going to get his money, because the cap room is going to grow. So they're not going to be reluctant to pay him, because he's already shown them he's worth the money. And Chris Greer has become somewhat of a mad scientist in terms of negotiating deals with players to where they want to stay and perform and play, and in the back end they get their money. Hence Tyreek Hill, who he condensed his deal to where it's spread out over the next 2 years, but Tyreek Hill will still see a good chunk of money, and he's went out there and produced. So it is a give and take relationship with this organization. However, it's worth it, because I mean, if right now the expectation is through the roof, as they should be. People are saying we can win 12 to 13 games. They're not wrong. They're absolutely right. We can win those kind of games, and I see us winning that. With a healthy Tua and everybody else on board, we can win a lot of games. But it all is about commitment. With that being said, guys, let me know what you think. How would Johnathan Taylor impact our offense? Should we pull the trigger and try to go get him, or should we be conservative and get somebody else? Let me know what you think. Peace.